Hi, welcome to SMPTE Day 1. We're here with Wendy Aylsworth, who has a rich history within SMPTE. You were former president of SMPTE for how long?
For 2 years.
Okay.
Every president is there for 2
Oh, so
years.
it's a limited.
Yep.
It's a limited time. And how long ago was that?
I think that was 12 and 13. No, 13 and 14.
Okay.
2013, 2014.
All right, but you're here, so obviously you're still involved in SMPTE.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of a lifelong.
It is.
Thing.
You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of interesting because early in my career, I didn't realize. I was sort of brought up with the mindset that you keep your head down and you do good work and you'll get rewarded. And I really didn't reach out to outside groups much. And then later in my career, I began to discover, oh, if you get involved with these industry groups, you meet more people and it just opens your eyes to so many things that you can apply back to your job, and it really helps grow your career, which I kind of didn't know, but and yeah, it's now a lifelong thing, and I just love coming back.
Fantastic. And today, and we're going to get into a bunch of different things, but today was the Women in Technology lunch.
Oh, that was great.
Wasn't it great? It was, so Rachel Payne was there, and so tell me what you thought of the event and the conversation.
Oh, I thought it was fabulous. Rachel she had so much energy, and you know, she saw issues and she went out and tackled them, and she the way she talks, she just energizes the whole room, and she kind of whittled down and pointed out some very specific things that,
Yep.
you know, she's filtered it down and made it a clear point that you can say, oh yeah, that's right, and that's something I could do to help.
Absolutely.
So,
and she also named the top 3 areas where women should be getting involved in now, like
Yeah.
AI and cybersecurity and blockchain. She was very specific with how women need to really dig into those areas. It was fantastic, and like you said, everybody was inspired, and it was a kind of a buzz, and
Yeah.
it was fantastic. Now, so you were at Warner Brothers,
right?
for 21 years. What was your
23.
23.
Ah, God,
Holy
forever.
cow. So, and what was your title for, I guess, when you left, when you
When
retired?
I left, I was Senior Vice President of Emerging Technology. So I ran a small group that supported the entire company across all the silos, whether it be television, film, games, etc. Whenever they needed really good engineering expertise to help, might be develop a new ecosystem, or it might be putting in tools to help speed up production, or it might be security around the content being distributed to consumers. It was a pretty wide-ranging group, but a small group.
Now, your background was what? You were technical from the get-go?
Yeah, my undergraduate degree was in computer and electrical engineering. So I actually started off in aerospace, and then a few years into my work in aerospace, I realized that I kind of had a capacity for kind of organizing people. So I started and then got a master's degree in business. Yeah, so those are my background degrees.
But back then, I mean, even now, there's not a ton of women working in that part of the industry.
Not, yeah. It was not always easy working in an all-male environment, and you have to adjust. And one of the things I've mentioned to people was when I would change jobs, and when I went from Disney to Warner Brothers, recognizing that I was new in the company, I cropped my hair real short, and I took on an image of being, you know, kind of as masculine as I could in order to prove my credentials. And then once I felt like I was pretty comfortable and people were accepting me for what skills I could bring to the party, then I went back to longer, girlier haircuts.
It's just incredible that you have to actually go through that whole process, and that you have to think about that, right?
Yeah. It's sad that you kind of have to think about that. And I don't know if it's as bad today as it was then, but it's just something I thought, well, if I do this, maybe I'll gain credibility more quickly.
As opposed just because you're good at the job,
Yeah,
you know.
right.
And that was a conversation today, which is also, and like mentorship and stuff. You know, so did you have someone like that? And I'm sure you've helped people along the way.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of mentors coming up through the ranks, and I would occasionally seek people out and it's outside of my company, you know, it's just to bounce ideas off of. And a lot of those were just old friends, whether or not they were in my field. Getting mentors in your field was sometimes hard. There were sometimes you could find people, predominantly men, because it's a male's environment in engineering. And sometimes I'd find that person who I could confide in, and I knew that they were, you know, taking me under their wing. But there were certainly plenty of people who, you know, weren't going to help or would take that information and not deal well with it.
Boy, so we do have to hope that we've come a little ways at least.
Yeah.
But so for a young woman starting out today in the industry, I mean, any tips to share? Any wisdom?
I think a couple of key things. One thing I tell a lot of young women is make sure that your only interface is not just your boss, that you are interfacing with people laterally, and that you know your boss's peers. Because I have seen managers in my career, both men and women, who find a good employee and they don't want to let them go. And they'll lock them down if they can, because they want to keep them for themselves. And unfortunately, that doesn't allow the individual to grow. So I comment to young people all the time, make sure that your work is being seen and recognized by more than just your boss. Make sure at least your boss's boss knows and your boss's peers know, and that you're working with everybody laterally. Don't just assume that you're going to get rewarded for your good work.
Yeah.
And on that point as well, I think it became more clear to me as I got older, but I still didn't really do much about it, that every individual has to fight for themselves. And I think particularly in the entertainment industry, more so than when I was in aerospace, your salary is pretty much dependent upon how much you're fighting for it. In the entertainment industry, you really don't know how much anybody else is making. The companies seem to keep that information quite private. So there's, you really need to speak up for yourself, and that's something I think I never did well. But I watch my sons and their wives and them going and pushing for raises and speaking up for themselves and achieving that increase that, you know, I think, God, I wish I'd been that brave when I was their age.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a different time, and
it is.
People are empowered to do that a little bit more now than it was. So, where are you now? What are you up to now?
Well, I'm supposed to be retired,
yes,
and doing my glass fusing, but I'm not.
You just can't quit it, can you?
Yeah. Well, you know, the industry is so fun. So I had been doing some various consulting, and then somebody came to me in the springtime and said, Ultraviolet needs some help. Would you support them? So I'm currently the president of Ultraviolet, which is actually the name of the organization is the Digital Entertainment Content Ecosystem. And Ultraviolet is their product, which allows consumers to get content digitally, and they can buy it at various retail places, and they can watch it at various locations.
Okay.
So it's a small organization, but I'm having a lot of fun with it.
You were given a technical Emmy. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's the Charles F. Jenkins Lifetime Achievement Award, which is sort of super special because Charles F. Jenkins actually is the founder of SMPTE.
Really?
Yeah. He was an inventor of projection systems, and there were so many different film formats that he got a group of people together, and they formed the Society of Motion Pictures Engineers. And that's been over 100 years ago now. And that group formed, and later he was an inventor, and I can't tell you off the top of my head specifically what his inventions were with respect to television as well. So he's been a very important person in both the motion picture side of the business and the television side of the business. So the Television Academy of, it's actually the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, has a Lifetime Achievement Award one for, they have one for companies as well, but one Charles F. Jenkins Award for an individual, and they've honored me with that this year. So
that's fantastic.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, and that's Wednesday.
That's Wednesday evening.
All right. So important question: where are you going to put it?
Actually, we have just downsized houses, and we've got a new house, and it's got this really cute adobe fireplace with a cute little mantle, and it's going right up there.
So it was like meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Great.